Good morning. It's Kabuki Day, Fed Day. How about a sound check? Oh, all right. Was that the sound check? Usually I get a few more. I only got one. Let me get somebody. There you go. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So let's go over the situation. Pretty cut and dry. Normally, they're not going to get very far before the Fed. I know what I said yesterday, but still, I have to go with what normally happens once in a while. And it's the 80-20 rule, right? Yesterday was the anomaly. That doesn't normally happen, okay? So we go back to what normally happens, because what normally happens will happen 8 out of 10 times, give or take, all right? So here's where we are. As long as they're above 411, they're going to spike 412 most likely, okay? You don't want to ride it up there for 4 or 5 points. That's not a good trade. They could pull the rug out in a second, but I'm just saying that's where they should go. Now, if they get above, I'm willing to, right here out of the gate, without seeing anything going on, I'm willing to short up here at 413.25 to 413.85. I'm willing to short that zone. You can get a reaction at 412, 10, 20, something like that. You certainly can, but I'm not sure we will. I'm not sure we won't. It's one of those coin tosses. It's resistance. You can certainly get a scalp out of it. What's the odds they just blow up to 413.25? I don't know. I can't be an odds maker on that. I'm just telling you it's a coin toss. We've seen those before. Some traders will take it. It's good for a scalp. You should get 4 or 5 points out of it if it works, at least. But you got to be careful, all right? If they drop them, I'm an interested buyer at 410.20, stretch it down to 409.30 zone. Two important numbers for two different reasons, creates a zone, and that's it. Other than that, we wait for them to do what we want. I'm the alter ego. We have patience. We don't take the stuff we don't want. We only take what we do want. We've got some stocks on the move. Somebody will be watching those. If Jordan or whoever's, if anything comes close, I've already loaded up the trend lines. A couple of minutes to post time. That's it. Nothing else to really go over. We just keep it simple. This is a aggressive short, we'll call it, with the full and complete understanding that they can get up here if they get above. Doesn't mean they will. They could pop it by 20 or 30 cents and fall right back down. I'm just saying, this is a little bit of an extreme this morning for a short, so I like those right out of the gate till I see more. But I'm not the trader that's going to short every opportunity that exists like this one. Not all opportunities are created equal. Let them bounce around at the open. If they run right up there, trader's choice. They have to spike 412 at least. Yeah, careful on Estee Lauder. It's already down there. And they're off. Okay? Look at that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Open 194.09. They spiked the number and it's over. Anybody take that? That was a higher risk play. Anybody take that? Look at that. Is that ridiculous? And I changed the number 15 minutes ago. Now, maybe a half hour. Whatever it was. CVS. Right back.
CVS is at its level and it's popped.
CVS? Okay. Nice job, John. That's fantastic. John pulled out 800 bucks 2 minutes into the day. Had a nice day today. Let them get to 412.05 here on the spiders. If they do, it's an opportunity for the aggressive trader. Blowing through it is in the 20% of the 80-20 rule. They can, but it is what it is. Still an aggressive short because it's early. They could do anything. Look at this. Is that amazing? Look at that rip. $7, $6 already. Wow. I guess I had the number. Funny how that works.
Starbucks is about to come into its spot, 107.05.
I'm not hearing you quite well, Jordan. I'm not sure what you said. You sound like a little distant.
Better?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, Starbucks. coming into its level 107.05.
There's a gap here. Look, just below 411 is a gap. Again, that's the same routine. It's even more aggressive than up here. Are they just going to fill the gap and run back up, or are they going to do some testing down lower? If they come down there, you just don't know. That's a coin toss. Still, doors open for 412 and a spike of it, as long as they're above 411. Yeah, Starbucks bouncing a little too much. Yep, that number's off the table. What's going on over here? Look at that. Jeez, how much did CVS bounce? Oh, look at that. I didn't realize. That's why John made 800 bucks. 1%. Funny how that works. Again, what do we got in the Q camp? Looks like the spiders. Not bad. Anybody still in that oil trade? It's a whopper. 25% in a week. Just took profit in my second piece of the short oil trade. Shannon is up 5K in oil. That's a whopper, Shannon. Nice job. Well done. Now here's an example in real time, right? So I had, let's just say, I sold 50% of my position on the oil trade at the first target. Then I just sold 50% of the remaining position at the second target. So I have a quarter left, and that's my trailer. And as I say, a trader typically doesn't have their full position on at final target. So if they have, let's say the market goes down after the Fed and oil collapses, then I've got a trailer on, and that's fine with me. I don't have to have the whole position on. It's very risky to do that, and it doesn't work out most of the time. Yeah, Shannon did the exact same thing. Exactly. Nice job. William, same deal, learn that. So it's hard to do because you say, well, now I only have 25% of my position. I only have 250 shares left, let's say, whatever. How much is that going to make me? It doesn't matter. You just pile them up. You just pile them up. It's part of the process. 412.05. It's resistance. They get there. Look at the IWM running away. There's a new swing trade that we took yesterday. It's already up a buck. It was one that I was waiting on the number for weeks. Weeks. Hit yesterday. IWM should have some resistance up here. I'm not suggesting to short it. I'm just saying it should be resistance. And there it goes. I don't think they hit it. Yes, they did. To the penny. To the penny. Good job, Mark. Mark took CBS. Patience. Just a quick question. If Kenny's out there, ask your friend how I knew it was 173.25 versus 173 in IWM. Check back with the answer. There's that woodpecker again. It's been hammering all morning. 412, a spike of 412 is less of a risk right now than it was right before the open because you didn't know how they were going to open. So it's still an aggressive trade, but it's less aggressive than it was 10 minutes ago. If that means anything. They had to get there quickly. If they start to spike up there, that's what they're running a test of, and they'll likely react somewhere around there for a scalp. 412, a spike of it. If they creep, it's not so great. Patience, alter ego stuff. William, you talking about the tail I said didn't mean anything? Yeah, I answered you on that. 412, a spike of 412, short scalp opportunity, somewhat aggressive, not too much. Let me explain that one to you, William, real quick. The number that you're citing went to a gap. It's right up here, okay? So there's nothing we could do with that information, even though it doesn't mean anything because it was after hours. There's nothing we could do with it because if they get above here, then that opens the door for the gap, but they have to go all this way first. So you can't assume they're going to do that until they're already almost there. That's why it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter because it was after hours also. It happens all the time after hours.
AMD is starting to come down to its first level at 81.32. It's about a buck away.
Still okay if they do it right, sooner than later. You're looking for 4 points. That's the scalp. If you don't want 4 points, don't take it. That's what you're looking for. They could give you more, but that's what you have to take on a scalp, 4 points. for S&P points, ES points, MES points, 40 cents in the spiders, equivalent and anything else you're trading. Now, I mean, don't take EL. That they gave you a trade. If you didn't take it, that's it. This was the trade. After this, you don't want it. It's done. I'm not saying these numbers won't work, but that's it. One and done. See, it's not a have to have. After seeing this, are you going to assume they're going to do it again? Or are they failing? That's the way I'm looking at it. Again, doesn't mean it won't work. It just means, do you have to have it after seeing this? I don't want it. Just my way, right? Anybody does whatever they want. I just give you my way. It's an opinion. Still okay. Okay. They spiked 412. 08. It's overhead resistance. You gotta let them, they can go up to a 412 and a quarter, 412.30, come back down. They start really pushing up or they start closing candles above here, then it opens a door for the higher stuff. Doesn't mean they're gonna get there just because they're up by 20 cents. How the Q's doing? All right, how about AMD? What's that going? What I said, Grace, was a spike of 412 is overhead resistance, but if they start pushing up or they close candles above, 413 and a quarter is the next place, and that next zone up to 413.85. When I first got on, I said that's the area I'm willing to short, but the aggressive trader could try a spike of 412, and obviously they're spiking it pretty good. Again, still doesn't mean they're going to get to the next place just because they spiked it. Still involved in the morning rush, as much as it is not a rush. Still quiet right now, meaning the volume is relatively light. It's not a flood of volume. And Mark bought a spike of the first number. And we talk about that. That's trader's choice, right? You don't have to take my numbers. You could wait for the spike. I'm giving you the number. You could do what you want. You could take only the second number. You could take a spike. You could take a tweener. I think Mark takes a tweener in between, right there. That's my guess. So now what happens with the spiders? They start closing candles above. They've closed 2 5-minute candles above. You got a 10. Not yet. Still doesn't mean they will get there, but they can. Yeah, Mark bought almost a tweener. 106.28. I think that's pretty much the midpoint in those two numbers. Interesting. Interesting strategy. We all assess our own risk. What are we willing to do? What are we willing to take? Just because my number's here doesn't mean you have to take it. You could wait. Most of them don't hit the number and take off, right? So when you take that into account, why not wait for a spike? Especially when it's near a big fat round number. It's not really big and fat, but it's just a round number, 107. You know, they spike it. Just food for thought. Jeff did the same thing. Nice job, Jeff. I say it every day. You take what I say, you take my numbers, you take everything I'm talking about, and you develop your own strategy and tactics within the framework of what I'm teaching. Not everybody wants the same trades all the time. I have something for everybody. I guarantee that. As long as you are interested and want to be here, I have something for everybody. That was my number, Jerome, 413 and a quarter. Some traders are short right now, but that's trader's choice. Exactly, Mark. When you start to look at the charts and you just assess what's happening, you say, all right, listen, if all of us assessed what's happening, we just took the day after it was over and we said, all right, here were all the numbers, here's what worked, here's the stocks on the move, here were all the numbers, here's what worked, here's what didn't, here's how it happened. They spiked this, they spiked this, they spiked this. So you start to see a pattern. Now, here's the thing. We're all going to see different patterns because we're going to see what we see. We're going to see what our mind is calculating, what our mind sees. We don't all see the same thing. That's what makes a market. And that's why I say you'll develop your own strategy because you're going to see in the framework of where your comfort level is and what you can do. So if a trader said, look, I see that most of them spike the first number. So I'm never going to buy the first number. I'm going to wait. And if I miss what I miss, so what? But I'm going to wait for at least 50% in between the first and second number. That's kind of what we're talking about today, just as a happenstance because a couple of traders do that. That's what they saw. Now, you might not have seen that until I said it. And now you're going to look at it and say, hey, that's a pretty good idea. So we all see what we see based on our comfort level and based on our learning and our experience and how much we know and our accumulation of knowledge over time. And that's how we develop our own strategies. Hey, like them apples. See, now 412, 412.05 in that zone is going to be some support. If they get below, they'll fall. If they can't, they're going to eat time off the clock above it. And that tells you that they're likely building energy to go higher. Resistance, resistance. Remember, first, resistance means they stopped going up. So a spike of 412, they stopped going up for now, but they're consolidating time. They're consolidating the price using time, pardon me. And that means they're eating time off the clock. Now what are they doing? They're testing 412. If you're short, you're looking for 4 points. Maybe they give you 5, maybe they give you more, but you got to take something off at 4 to 5 points. If they stay above, then you know the story. Then that's like a win, Dennis. I consider that a win. What I was talking about in the video last night, I'm answering Dennis and everybody else, is the bad trade in the morning. Some traders got all of it back. Some got some made a profit, some made a profit anyway. And that number down there at 408.20, I believe, a lot of traders got their money back. And Dennis says he fought his way back to even. And I said, that's like a win. You take away the bad trade and you had a great day, but you had a bad trade and you still didn't lose any money. How about that? That's why it's a win. It's going to happen. Going to lose on trades. There's no two ways about it. Just patience. If you're in no position, you're waiting for them to do something of interest. What would that be? Well, if they ran up, there's another short up there. Those traders that are short are looking for 4 to 5 points. And when they come down, let's say 5 to 6 points, it's likely a bounce. That was yesterday, William. Numbers change every day. Not all of them, but most of them. And that was yesterday's number. And no, that if you don't see it on the board, it's not a number today. Whether this works or not, if anybody's short, this is called semi-torture trade, right? Because it's so slow that they come down 10 or 15 cents and then they pop right back up. That's a torture trade. The numbers are the numbers, the whole thing is the thing, but the type of tape dictates a lot of times what you want and what you're willing to tolerate. It's a slow tape. David got 665 bucks. Nice job. Great job. Shorted a spike, a pretty good spike, and you took the profit. Nice job. Again, you take what I say and you do what you want. What did they go to a high of here? 65. That's a nice job, David. Well done. David H. Nice job, Mark. Mark went for the double dip in Starbucks. Where'd this candle close? Oh, wait. They're hanging on this number. There's your 5 points. 4 points, sorry. All right, exactly 4 points. Anybody take it? And there's your scalp. And we're done with that. They could bounce it anywhere in here down to, let's say 411.40 down to 411 could be a bounce. What do we got in terms of traders that were short the tape and took a nice profit or still in, all that stuff? Tell me. I got some of you. Tom, nice job. Jeff, Eric, 900 bucks, nice job. Grant's still in, nice job. Look at that. Awesome. Nick, still in with a trailer, 4,400 bucks for Scott. That's fantastic. AMD is bouncing. We're not worried about that one right now. Yeah, Mark, that's the way it works. It's over. That number's over. They bounced too much. AMD, okay? Because they basically gave you the thing already from here. And when my eye looks at that, I say, is that too close? And if I have to ask myself if it's too close, it is. And that's the way I do it. Just eliminate the risk you don't need. That's part of trading. I don't need that risk. What's the low? 411.40. What did I say? 411.40 to 411. Funny how that works. Nice job, Ron. Anybody take 411.40? Just curious. Yep, Mark. Okay. That was the top of the zone on the button for sure. Yeah, a lot of you took it. Okay. See, that's a good example of some of the ones that took the long may have been short, and some of the ones that took the long may not have been short. They didn't want the short, but they wanted the long. Something for everybody. Could you get back to 412? Yes, you could. I don't know you will, but you could. You would take something before that. 411 for now is the other side of that zone. If they get below 411, it's going to open the door to 410.20. So if they drop, 411 is the other side. It was 411.40 to 411. Qs are pushing up a little bit. Let's see what's going on over in camp IWM. Yeah, they're stuck. It's okay. They're not falling, right? So that's good for the bull case. All right, so they've given you, what, 4 points? 3.5, 4 points. I'm sure some traders took that already. There you go. You can hold it. You never know. Don't hold it through the Fed. Just, you can hold it as long as they're up with some of it, a trailer. By the way, just to have a psych conversation for a second. What did we say yesterday? What did I say yesterday? The market doesn't know about the trade you lost on. All right. So the second one in the 408.20, that was an example of that. And then today is another example for those traders that either took a little short scalp or a little short long, or a little long scalp. It has nothing to do with yesterday. Get it out of your head. Just forget it. It's over. Move on. That's the way we have to think about it. Market doesn't know about yesterday. Market knows about right now. That's it. The only person thinking about a loss on a trade that you had yesterday is you. Don't. 412, Armand. And then higher. Like you have to take something before 412. Like they already got up here once. If you in at 411.40 and you have multiple exits, you have to take something before 412 and then you hold it. If you have one exit, you have to pick a number. Quiet tape, light volume, you're not doing anything. You're just going back and forth. S&P's up 8, 9 points on the day. It's not a big day one way or the other. You're playing a little ping pong. That's all. A little ping pong. If you're not taking something in front of 412, you got to take it in between 412 and 412.25. It did work. I said what I said for the right reasons. AMD's over. Oh, 412. 412.01. Anybody make money on the long? How you doing? Yeah, I know, Chris. It's awesome. Love it when it happens right away, don't you? They don't all do that. Job, Mark. Jerome, awesome. Well done. It's a good example. Chris was mentioning something that happened yesterday in the swing trading place, and something was in the news. It was horrible, collapsing. It hit a number, and it just stopped going down. And here we are today, bouncing. And it's just uncanny how it happens. It has nothing to do with the news. I say it all the time. It's very hard to wrap your head around. A lot of traders didn't take that trade, I'm sure, because of the news. It's interesting. It's fascinating. 412, overhead resistance. Nice job, Gerardo. Another 400 bucks on the long. Great. So we had some short players. We had some long players. We had some players in both. We had some stocks on the move. We had some second number players in Starbucks. We had whatever else we had. We had nice. We had a nice day in the first hour of trading today, I think, for what it is, slow tape. Pretty good. I'll take it. I think we got them all. Definitely going to be a no end to fold them type of morning because we got the Fed coming up. So, you know, as the morning winds down, that's going to be it. And after the Fed, if you want to trade the Fed, that's up to you. That's not my cup of tea. I like to be a spectator. The rule is you don't let the trailer go bad on you. Just buy it lower if you want to hold it long for a while. You don't let it go below In other words, don't wipe out the profit on the scalp. That's the policy. It's a rule. You have to do it. You just pile up the base hits. Base hits put you in the Hall of Fame. Everybody except Pete Rose, who should be in the Hall of Fame for the second time this week. No, Ron, it's over. Everything's one and done. The second time at a number is not the first time. First time, best time. Write that down, put it on a sticky note. First time, best time. That doesn't mean it won't work, but it's not the same trade. Two totally different things. Is it an important place? Yeah, but if I'm going to buy it now, I'm going to wait for 411 because they already went to 411.40. And if they don't give me 411, I'm not going to cry about it. First time, best time. I didn't make that up. I don't have a patent on that. That just is what it is. First time, best time. What's going on with the Q people? See? First time, best time. All these little things I tell you, I don't tell you because I want to just hear myself talk. They're because they're important things. It's important stuff. Yeah, but that was after the fact, Michael. I'm talking about just his pure numbers while he was playing. He should be in the Hall of Fame. The stuff after it, I get it. I understand it. But he's getting up there, and I just think it's the right thing to do at this point. Put him in the freaking Hall of Fame. Let him have it. Let his family have it. It seems like most people agree with me about just put him in. Who's going to be upset about it right now if you put him in? Really? Make a special exception. I know the time has expired and all that stuff or whatever. Oh, he never even actually came up for a vote, I guess. I'm not sure. Somebody will know that. Probably never came up for a vote. Doesn't matter. Just put him in. All right. Beat a dead horse. Now they're just bouncing around. Right? So is there another trade? Maybe if they came down to 411. Is there a short? No. Now it's patience. If you don't want to wait and you're done for the day, wait for the Fed for spectator sport, then that's fine. You had a couple nice trades today, take them and go. Just watch, whatever you want to do. You don't have to do anything. Yeah, I agree with that, Mark, by the way. More important to keep the steroid cheaters out. I'm 100% with you on that. I hate that. Yeah, what a great point Eric made. Eric H., look at this. They push gambling down our throats now everywhere you look. And again, we're back to the whole thing. Well, he was a manager when he was gambling. Okay, still had nothing to do with his base hits. By the way, it doesn't matter who said it before, but somebody said, is 411.40 still a buy? And let me delve into the psych behind that. I'm not yelling at anybody. I'm just telling you the way it is. You have to accept the fact that this is true. If you're looking for another trade after we already had one at 411.40 and you're asking about that, you likely haven't overcome the overtrading thing. If you were looking for another trade at the same place we just took a trade because you might have missed it and didn't take it, now you want a trade, so you say, well, is that number still good? Even though you may not consciously be doing anything wrong, your unconscious is looking for a trade because you want to have a trade. And you're more concerned with being in a trade than being in a winning trade. As hard as that is to wrap your head around, that is the psychology part of it behind trading. It's more important to be in a trade than a winning trade, and you have to get over that. And that's why we have to be selective. And we have rules. And I'm right. I know how this works. You want me to make a comment on 411? Like what? It's $1 above 410, $1 below 412. 411 is still the bottom end of the support range. They came down there now, it'll probably bounce. If it was a half hour from now, can't tell you. 410.84 is yesterday's close to answer Jeff, which makes it the gap. So you could say it's between 411, 410.97, and 410.87 on this chart. See? What were you looking at to say 420, 411.20 is a gap? Where would you find that? You need to fix that. We need to fix that for you, Jeff. What does that mean? The gap but that's not the gap. What is he looking at this? No, I don't know what he's looking at. That's what you're looking at. Okay, I see it. Okay, but the gap from a daily chart perspective and the other charts is down below 411. Okay. Yeah, sometimes you're going to get caught in a downdraft, Daniel. That's what happened yesterday. It's just, you can't avoid it. Sometimes it is going to happen. That's why you have to have an uncle point. So you have to know what your total maximum risk is on a trade before you enter the trade in dollars and cents. And you back into how many shares, and even if it doesn't work out to your numbers because you get caught in this meltdown, you have to take the loss at your maximum loss. And that's the way you do it. That's just trading 101. I didn't make that up. I don't have the patent on it. There's no easy answer. There's no magic. You have to manage those situations to the best of your ability. Anybody that tells you, well, here's the total risk on a trade, and even if it is a downdraft, you're still going to be, now, sometimes you get caught. And that's why you have to have a maximum uncle point. I'm sorry, that was me, Tom. 1140 is the next spot. Sorry about that. It's still in the bull case, what we talked about. Nice job if you held it. What about EL? What about it? What would you like to know, Lisa? Are you long, Lisa? Okay. There isn't any. That's the problem. It's not a problem. If you're long, it's a good problem to have. There's nothing here. It just wiped out all this stuff. Look at this candle. This is today's candle, but it's a weekly chart, but it's today's candle, right? I'll give you a number. Just give me a second. I got to do some math. Bear with me. 205 to 207. They could get there, or higher, but they could get there. 205 to 207. There should be overhead resistance at 207 or before. And then believe it or not, after that, it's like 211.75. Okay, Lisa. Nice ride. Armand is asking, on FOMC day when the VIX has been super low and likely to move up, what makes it likely to move up? Isn't higher risk to take long closer we get to 2 p.m.? No, but you shouldn't be in a trade around then anyway. Uncertainty means the VIX is going to spike. Who's uncertain? And how do you know? I'm trying to get you to rewire your brain, Armand. All these things are assumptions that you're making, have nothing to do with the numbers in the market. Rewire the brain. It goes for everybody. I'm not yelling at you, I'm helping you. And I know you know your stuff and all that stuff, but you look at too many things. You confuse yourself. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Uncertainty is a generic term. When is the market certain of anything? When are you certain of anything as it relates to the market? When? They don't bounce it here, they're going to go down to 410.20, by the way, or head there. They don't have to get there. And Armand, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the VIX won't spike, and I'm not saying the market won't sell off after the fact. I have no idea. All I'm saying is you don't know, and you're using assumptions to come up with what? Nice job, Grant. Grant shorted 41.50 in the ES, down to 41.33. Rest is a trailer. That's some trade. Well done. We took some along the way. That's all good. Bob V made 800 bucks shorting the RTY. Nice job, Bob. Which was based on IWM, most likely up here somewhere. Could be. Probably not, Mark. So they spiked 411. Where did they go? In between. Ripped it back up to 411. I'm sure traders were thinking it was wrong. I get it. Just, they spiked the numbers. That's just the way it works. Sometimes. Anybody long? Yep. Eric D. Sammy. Shannon. Most of you from a spike. See that? You learn. Try and get the best price you can get. Try and get your price. Doesn't have to be my price. It could be your price. It's your choice. I give you the numbers. I give you the whole thing. I give you everything I have. With a profit, Jerome, I would assume. Yeah, nice job. You just pile up the base hits one at a time. Not 2 at a time, 1 at a time. Sometimes 2 at a time. Mostly it's 1 at a time. Let's see what we got on a 15-minute chart. Not much. It's a pullback. It's a pullback, but this is a bearish wedge. But are they going to collapse before the Fed? We don't know, but it's unlikely. Can this be an ABC? What does that mean? Can it be an A leg up, a B leg down, and a C leg up to complete that pattern, but still inside the wedge? Yes. We don't know. Just mapping out, potential schematics. We're just thinking around things. We have an understanding of what the market may be doing. So if we see something happening, it's familiar. Well, yeah, they're doing this. 410.20 is the next number. Is this a retrace of a tail, or are they going to come down to 410.20? Well, below the tail, and it opens a door. Just garden variety stuff. 411.65 was that next number on the upside above 411. Below 411, it's 410.20. Ron. So if you have one and you're willing to add another, you do it at 410.20. If you took 411, a lot of traders took a spike and they already took a scalp. Just saying. Just ping pong right now, just back and forth. You take scalps. They're not making a move big in one direction or another at present. So you take what the market's giving you, which is ping pong. There's your answer, Sammy, but they're going the other way. So 410.20 for now. I'd like you to be logged in one place, Armand, to the webinar. There's no reason you need 2 of them. Thank you. So far, technically, it's still just a retrace of the tail. If they get back above 411, that's the bull case for pop to 411.60, 65 or more. I'll be right back, 30 seconds. So you see now 411 is resistance all of a sudden. That's the way it works. 411.01 high. The numbers are the numbers. Again, they're not doing anything. It's a bounce in a current downtrend. Doesn't mean they can't bounce more. Doesn't mean they won't bounce more. It's a bounce in a current downtrend with a tail on the hourly chart, but it's in the middle of nowhere. So a lot of you will look at this and say, well, that means the market's coming down. Well, maybe it does. But I like these when they're at highs like this one, or at lows if this was a nice tail. That's different than this right in the middle of no man's land. That doesn't really tell you everything that the other ones tell you. It's not the same. Not all tails are made the same. I go over that in my course as well. That's not new. In light of the Fed, we're definitely going to wrap this a little early today. What happens on Fed Day, just to reiterate what I put in the notes this morning, is generally you get the morning rush, which we've had, and then the market goes into float mode. That's where we are now. We're in float mode. It may go down a little, it may go up a little, but it's float mode. It's not an ideal trading environment. It's floating. 410.20 is the next opportunity. They get there if you want it. It's a bounce. This is another scalp. Some stuff rolling in here. I was looking at other stuff. If the Fed were to cause the markets to have a large move in either direction, or the big fat round numbers 400 and 420 reasonable areas the market can push to. Yeah. Well, let's take a look at a daily chart. So we know if they start moving and they start getting above the highs over here, for example, then it's 420. Okay, most likely. If they fall and they get below here, there's a gap, and 400 is just below the gap, so that's a reasonable place. It's also right around the 100 period moving average, a spike of 400. So the answer to your question is in an extreme, yes. That doesn't mean anything because we don't really know what's going to happen. I can't tell you, yeah, they're going to stop there, no question about it. I can't say that. I don't think I'm muted. Did everybody just hear that? Yeah. Michael H. Might be something on your end if you can hear me now. Thank you, folks. Yeah, so that's a story. The question was a good one, what are the likely story in the up and down side? But you just don't know. Anything goes. And sometimes it's a dud. Sometimes they don't even move much. Is it working now? Let me know, Michael. Yeah. So what I said was, it's reasonable. Those numbers are reasonable. And the 100 period moving average is right around that 400 mark, a little below. And there's a gap right above it. So that is a good spot, but you just don't know. That's the answer. You just don't know. In the heat of the moment, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, are you going to buy 400? Are you going to buy or sell 420? I mean, are you really going to do that with an hour left in the day? Is that something you have to do? Just think about it for yourself. And if that's something you want to do, that's your choice. Sometimes you could have the best number in the world, and if it happens at 3 o'clock or 3:30 in the afternoon, do you want it? Because the best numbers fail too. Everything has a chance not to work in this business. So with no time on the clock, and then you have to sit with it overnight, and if you did, you're sitting with it overnight, and then who knows what happens overnight. A lot of times the market will move the day after the Fed. Happens all the time. Not all the time, but it happens, certainly. That's not a bad idea. It's like a lottery ticket, 2 lottery tickets. And the only way you lose is if both don't work, right? If the market just stays where it is, then you lose them both. So what Michael's saying is Michael H. bought, and I'm not suggesting anybody does this, he bought what he knows is a lottery ticket. He bought a 44-cent put and a 44-cent call, 420 and 400. Upside of 420, downside of 400. We're right in the middle. And he's up on the put, but the problem is he bought it for a reason, so he can't take the profit. Otherwise, the trade isn't the same as the intention. But it's an interesting play. I've done that before. And what I said was, you lose on both if the market just stays where it is. After the Fed, if it just doesn't do anything, they just diminish, both of them. Yeah, I've done that stuff. I mean, I've talked about it before, and I've told you when I'm doing it sometimes. I say it's a lottery ticket, and I'm human. I do stuff like that. And frankly, they rarely work, the lottery tickets. They work sometimes, but they rarely work to what you expect, right? You think, oh, I'm going to get all this gain if it pops up and it stays where it is today, and then the put expire. Let's say it was today's expiration, then I wouldn't do that, but some people do that. And then it expires worthless, both of them expire worthless, and then the market shoots up tomorrow or shoots down tomorrow, and you would have paid handsomely, but you're out. That kind of stuff happens all the time. Thought I was AI generated. I'm not sure what that means, David H. I could be. No, you can't do that, Daniel. It doesn't work. I mean, you could, but yeah, I know what artificial intelligence is, but I'm not sure how that relates to me. And I just might not be getting it. You know what, Nick? It's actually just the exercise of doing it and getting a win out of it that gives you the adrenaline. It's unlikely that you're ever going to put enough money into a play like that to make a difference. So it's a bet. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. It's a bet. Yeah, it's for sport. I'll be right back. I'm back. It's just a mush tape at this point. If you're long, you'll get a bounce. They haven't hit 420. They might hit 420. They might bounce to 411. They might go to 412. All this, you just don't know. It's a mush tape right now. You'll get a bounce. You're in an on-time situation in a 15-minute chart. They'll bounce. 411.65 was the number, Armand, and anything higher than that is up to 412 and a spike of it again. Run a test of the highs or somewhere in that neighborhood, almost 412, give or take. So it's 411.65. If they get above 411, that's where they would head. Above 411, they will reach 411.60. Just call it 60, 65. You know what? I'm going to change that, Shannon, to trailer. Don't sell it. Oh, I did change it. I've already changed it to trail this morning. It's up 22%. We're talking about the short oil trade. And I took the third profit target off and just trail it. The stop is already long in the money. Just trail it. You could find this oil trade. I know it's hard to believe, but oil could be as low as 62, 61, and it's 68. Can't get on here if anybody's thinking that. It's too late. This was the trade. For those of you wondering what the hell I did, it was 23.76. That was the entry on SCO right there. I think it was this day, 23rd, 24th. It was right here. That was it. Boom. So if I'm right, and oil gets down to 61, this is going to be up here or more. It's hard to tell. Run a test of these highs. You can't go off this chart because it's a double exchange traded product, so it's skewed. It's not chartable the same way oil is. Had nothing to, this is just the trading vehicle. The work was done in crude oil. 7, Jerome. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Jerome K. We weren't on the 5th. You're looking at it incorrectly if you thought we were on the 5th. And it's, yeah, 6 or 7, and if they still continue, then you jump it to 10. Seven, Jerome. Take it from the high. I'm going to run it to 11:30 today. Nothing's going to happen before the Fed. They're just going to bounce around. That's it. Okay, Eric D. See you. Dave, those really aren't meant for options. Those are scalps with potential. So most of them, some of them can be traded with options because they're liquid enough. But if a stock has a big spread or the options aren't real liquid, the spread on the options will be too large and it's not conducive because you have trouble exiting. The question is, can I trade stocks on the move with options? Sometimes you can, but that's not the intent of them. They're meant to be equity trades, scalp trades. That's up to you, Ron. I mean, at this point, it's just a mush market. Do you need a trade? Do you have to have it? Think about it. Ask yourself that question. Do you need to have this trade at 410.20? They came close, they bounced away, they almost got to 411, and they're falling back down. Is that a trade you have to have? Is it that important? That's the way I would look at it. And if the answer is yes, then you have to be willing to buy 409.30 at this point. That's right, Dirk. Okay, Patrick. You're welcome. I think you're leaving us, right? Yeah, well, you just left for the day. Patrick's leaving us. Some folks have to go back to work, is what I'm being told. Being called back to the office. I guess that's going on around town or around wherever. Folks getting called back to the office. Got 2 emails like that yesterday. Hey, let's put it in perspective for a second. The market's flat, right? The S&P's down 1 point. What does that tell you? We're waiting on the Fed. That's it. Can they run up $1, 50 cents, 75 cents? Of course. But the market's flat. Just put the big picture in perspective, that's all. And they won't let you do it, Michael? Is that what's going on? I just answered your email. All right, any last questions here? I mean, you see what's going on. There's nothing to do. You're sitting long, waiting for a pop, that could happen, but is it worth the wait? You decide. Last call for alcohol. Last call for questions, that was. I'll give it a minute. Yeah, they always do that, Ron, on Fed Day. TradeStation is using overnight margin requirement for the afternoon today, and they generally do that for events like this, because they're doing that to protect you and themselves. They don't want you to blow up your account. Then they can't make money on you. You too, Ron. You're welcome. You're welcome. Jerome, Craig, you have a good day. Michael H. You're not stuck in a long, Armand. What does that mean? Change your thinking. You're not stuck in a long. Wait, down 2 cents? Come on. You couldn't have taken a long higher. You're not stuck in a long. You got to get out of that mindset. Well, I grew up a Yankee fan, Jeff. You're welcome, Bob. V. Nice job, Jeff J. I grew up in the era where they had, let's see if I could do this around the horn. Thurman Munson, you had the pitching staff, Ron Guidry and Catfish Hunter and Goose Gossage and all those guys. You had Chris Chambliss over at first, Willie Randolph at second, Bucky Dent at third, Bucky Dent at short, Greg Nettles at third. You had Winfield out there, you had Mookie Wilson, you had Reggie Jackson, And then that was like the core team. That was what I grew up with, plus some other guys. Mattingly. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the Mariners. I like the Mariners. One of my friends got drafted by the Mariners long time ago. Any other questions? Comments, complaints? Are we seeing the bounce now that you said the 15-minute chart was on time? Yeah. On time means it should bottom. In this case. And it did. Now, if they get above 411, they will go to 411.60 to 65. They stay above there, not just peekaboo above for a couple of minutes, but if they, they get above, then they're going to be going to 411.60 or 65. And then if they get above that, back to near the highs, 412, give or take. One step at a time. All right, I'm going to give it a wrap, folks. Fed day. We had a good morning. Even if it was small, it was still a good morning, right? There was a lot of little opportunities, kind of a something for everybody situation. You're welcome, Shannon. If you didn't take a trade today, for whatever the reason, that's fine. Did you learn something? If you did take some trades, I can't think of a reason you would have lost on anything. So they were pretty much mostly simple stuff. You're welcome, everybody. There you go. See, it was something for everybody. We got a Starbucks, we got a S&P, short, long. We got even a couple of Estee Lauders. Where's that? What's that doing? There you go. Here comes your 405, 205, sorry. It's funny how that works, isn't it? It's just like magnets. Once they clear, like for example, in this case, look at the 30-minute chart and you say, this is the opening range. If they can clear the opening range high, which is in this case, $200, opening range high, the next spot was 405 to 407, which should be overhead resistance. But this is down a lot today, so it could do some damage on the upside. You never know. Nice trade, Lisa. Isn't that great? Didn't take long either. They just kept doing it, right? It just kept going. That's it. See that? They test the opening range, decide to get back above, boom. Nice. That's one that you never know how much they can give you, Lisa. You never know. I'm giving you the number I think is overhead resistance, but there is nothing to say that they can't be a lot higher later. You have no idea. But you can't be in it around the Fed, right? Because anything can happen. And that's profit you don't want to give up. You got to take, you want to hold something small, that's up to you. But you got to take the majority of it off, if not all, before the Fed. All right, folks. Appreciate everybody. Nice day. I'm not yelling at anybody. I'm teaching you. I'm helping you. I promise. I promise from the bottom of my heart, that's what I'm doing. So have a good afternoon. Don't do stupid stuff, especially around the Fed. You want to gamble, you're gambling, you take a small position, it's a lottery ticket, that's up to you. But for the most part, if we're treating it as a business, we have no business trading around the Fed, okay? So don't do stupid stuff either way. And we'll be back tomorrow in uniform, ready to go. I'll see you in the video tonight. Thank you. Appreciate everybody.